Sally, I hear something. Stop. Stop.
Welcome to Watch Mojo. And today we're counting down our picks for the top 10 banned movies that were eventually unbanned.
You look in the forest, you got species killing other species, our species killing all species, including the forest, and we just call it industry, not murder.
For this list, we'll be looking at widely available movies that were once banned in various parts of the world. What do you think of these movies and their content? Let us know in the comments below. Number 10. The Phantom of the Opera. Released just 15 years after the novel, Rupert Julian's The Phantom of the Opera caused quite an uproar. An early silent film, it is mostly remembered for Lon Chaney's horrifying makeup, which reportedly caused some people to faint in their seats. According to Derek Winnert's book, The Virgin Encyclopedia of the Movies, The Phantom of the Opera was actually banned in the United Kingdom for being too scary. This ban lasted from the movie's release in 1925 to 1929. It was around this time that a reworked sound version of the film was released to great popularity. The entire movie can now be watched on YouTube, having entered the public domain all the way back in 1953. Number 9. Promises, Promises. Nowadays, you can easily find unclothed women on cable. Just throw on any random Game of Thrones episode and you'll see one in 5 minutes. But back in 1963, this was explicitly taboo. Produced by and starring Jane Mansfield, Promises, Promises became the first sound movie to depict a celebrity in their birthday suit. The MPAA didn't exist at the time, rather, Hollywood censored itself through something called the Hays Code. And with this movie, they started bending their own rules.
Say that this pill is going to help me become a father?
I have every reason to believe it will.
Wow, what's in it?
Well, let us just say it will accomplish a purpose.
Mansfield's sexy scenes were the primary selling point of the movie, and it was promoted heavily in Playboy. Promises, Promises was banned in several American cities, and Hugh Hefner actually faced obscenity charges for publishing Mansfield's undressed body through Playboy.
Sandy, you look gorgeous.
Number 8. Haxan. Originally released back in 1922, Haxan is a Swedish film that blends documentary with traditional filmmaking. It chronicles the story of witchcraft and argues that historic witches were actually just women suffering from neurological disorders. To accurately depict history, Haxan resorted to showing scenes of torture and people in the buff. It also had a very anti-religious stance, which was deemed incredibly controversial in the early 1920s. For all these reasons, Haxan was either heavily censored or outright banned in many major markets. Variety famously called it absolutely unfit for public exhibition. It remained banned for some years and was eventually re-released in the late 60s under the title Witchcraft Through the Ages. Number 7. Straw Dogs. One of the most controversial films of the 70s, Sam Peckinpah's Straw Dogs depicts a couple who are endlessly harassed by violent locals.
I care. This is where I live. This is me. I will not allow violence against this house.
The movie featured intense images of graphic violence and sexual assault, and some critics argued that it glamorized both.
One move, you son of a bitch. Slit your throat.
Some accused Straw Dogs of engaging in controversial sexual themes, while others argued that the movie celebrates the use of vigilante violence.
Jesus. I got them all.
Straw Dogs was censored in America and released uncut in the United Kingdom. but it was banned in its native country following the Video Recordings Act of 1984. It remained banned for the next 20 years before finally getting a DVD release in 2002. Number 6. Battleship Potemkin. Now regarded as one of the best movies ever made, Battleship Potemkin was released to great controversy in 1925. A Soviet film, the movie depicts the onboard rebellion of the Potemkin, which occurred in 1905 and is generally seen as a major stepping stone to the Russian Revolution. While a huge success throughout much of the world, Battleship Potemkin was banned in the United Kingdom. According to the BBFC, the movie was prohibited for its inflammatory subtitles and Bolshevist propaganda. The movie was unbanned following the death of Stalin in 1953, but it was still given the dreaded X rating. Number 5. The Birth of a Nation. This is simultaneously one of the most influential and most controversial movies ever made. No one denies the quality of filmmaking itself, as The Birth of a Nation helped pioneer many techniques. However, it received condemnation from day one and continues to be seen as a despicably racist piece of work. African American characters are depicted as savages and are played by white actors, and the KKK is viewed in a positive light. For many, The Birth of a Nation harbors extreme convictions of white supremacy. It was vehemently protested against by the NAACP and banned in many major cities, including Chicago and Pittsburgh. However, the ban lasted just 1 year. Number 4. Freaks. Back in the early 20th century, people born with significant physical disabilities were referred to as freaks of nature. This 1932 film concerns the type of people typically seen in carnival sideshows, which were also known as freak shows.
You are about to witness the most amazing, the most astounding living monstrosity of all time.
These people included a woman without arms, conjoined twins, and a little person.
Let her try it. Let her try doing anything to one of us.
You're right. She don't know us, but she'll find out.
It was not a kind time. However, this movie looked to change that common perception. And even though the film treats its titular characters with respect, many people thought it was disturbing, and some reportedly ran out of test screenings. The pre-code horror flick was deemed too grotesque for British censors and was banned for over 30 years.
Believe it or not, there she is.
It wasn't released in the United Kingdom until 1963, when it was given an X rating. Number 3. The Texas Chain Saw Massacre. It's amazing what the mere thought of violence can do to one's perception. A legendary film, The Texas Chain Saw Massacre contains no blood or gore, and most of the violence occurs off-screen. However, it still developed a reputation for being excessively grotesque. Theaters in Ottawa, Ontario, Canada were threatened with morality charges for showing the movie, and it was outright banned in numerous countries.
I just can't take no pleasure in killing. There's just some things you gotta do. Don't mean you have to like it.
After its initial theatrical run, the movie was banned in the United Kingdom, as was the use of chainsaw in movie titles. It wasn't released again until 1999. The movie wasn't even released in Australia until 1984, a full 10 years after its American premiere. The country's classification board simply refused to pass it, regardless of how many edits it received. Number 2. Natural Born Killers. One of the most controversial films of the 90s, Natural Born Killers has long been denounced for its violent content and for supposedly inspiring copycat crimes.
Please explain to me, where's security that you couldn't live without in the 52 people who are no longer on this planet because they met you and Mallory?
Woody Harrelson and Juliette Lewis star as the Knoxes, a serial-killing couple who are glorified and popularized by the media.
Yeah, you know, we respect human life and all. But if I was a mass murderer, I'd be Mickey and Mallory.
The movie intends to criticize the media's fascination with violence, but most people just focus on the violence itself. There's a certain sort of irony there.
Come on, missing. Come on, let's go.
Okay, baby.
Ireland banned the movie completely, and its release was delayed in the United Kingdom while censors investigated the so-called copycat crimes. Following its theatrical release in 1995, the movie was banned in the UK until 2001, when it was finally released on home video.
Before we continue, be sure to subscribe to our channel and ring the bell to get notified about our latest videos. You have the option to be notified for occasional videos or all of them. If you're on your phone, make sure you go into your settings and switch on notifications.
Number 1. The Last House on the Left. Written and directed by horror legend Wes Craven, The Last House on the Left is pure violence.
I want you to take the gun. And I want you to turn around. And I want you to put it in your mouth. And I want you to blow your brains out.
The first half of the film concerns the torment and killing of Mary Collingwood, and the second involves the revenge that Mary's parents take on her killers.
What's your name now, little angel? Mary.
She was a lot tougher than you were, Doc. I mean, she took a while to kill.
It's essentially just depravity and death, and the censors were not happy. The movie wasn't released in Australia until 2004, having been previously denied classification by the country's censorship board. It was also banned in the UK after being deemed a video nasty in the 80s.
Now, I'm gonna tell this little lady here to do something. And if she doesn't do exactly what I tell her to, I want you to cut her, friend.
The movie wasn't released again until 2003, but that cut was censored. The uncut version didn't see the light of day until 2008, about 25 years after its initial banning.
Do you agree with our picks? Check out this other recent clip from WatchMojo, and be sure to subscribe and ring the bell to be notified about our latest videos.